morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I tried to get Michael to speak on my behalf, but he wasn't having it, so I guess I will talk today about our relationship with Grace. I've lived in this neighborhood ever since 2010, but only became a member only became a member about 2017 when Michael started going to school here, and I've always had my own personal relationship with God. Ever since I grew up, I loved going to church with my grandma. I loved vacation Bible study. It was something that I always really enjoyed, but I never was a member of any congregation, and I wasn't even baptized. I didn't even really have anything other than being Christian because that's what I believe. And so there came a time in my life when I needed to start crediting God for the wonderful things that were happening in my life and not just leaving it up to luck. And so, no touching the fire. But I decided that not only did I want to get baptized, but I also wanted to find a spiritual home. And when the time came for my husband and I to look for a daycare for Michael, we looked right down the road at Grace because we had heard a lot of wonderful things about the school. And so I checked it out, and before I looked at the school, I wanted to see what it was like to be here as a member and to worship here. And Reverend Gina was here at the time. And I remember the first time I came in, I was by myself. I hung out in the back, and I just kind of sat there and just listened in to see how everything went. And I remember Reverend Gina greeting me in the very back at the very end of the service, and she was so sweet and so warm. And then later on that week, getting a postcard from her, I was like, wow, that's really neat. And then I came back for Easter Sunday because Easter and Christmas are my favorite services. And Michael was about a little over 1 at the time, so he was outside in the yard with the Easter eggs trying to eat them. Back in the day when he would eat everything, now he eats nothing. And we really enjoyed the community that was here. And so Michael started school right after the school opened up after Harvey, right after Labor Day 2017. No touching the fire. And I decided I really needed to come back and support the church because I didn't feel right about bringing my son to a school if I wasn't going to support the church. And so I started attending again. I believe it was in December, and that's when I met Reverend Scott, and I was thinking, Reverend Gina's not here? I don't know about this. But
You were not alone.
But I started talking with Scott about how I wanted to be baptized and how I wanted Michael to be baptized as well. Son, if you knock over that fire, it's not going to be good, all right? So we became baptized. I believe it was during the Easter service, the night before Easter of 2018, I believe. And so that's when we became full members. And as I look back in my life and during this time where we're looking to become a parish again, I think back about all the times where I really needed help from others. I wasn't able to donate money. I wasn't able to do a lot of things. And I offered my service and my time, and now I'm in a position where I can help out financially. And so I just remember what the church stands for, what the mission is, and what we're all here to do, and how much this family means to me spiritually. And I had mentioned how much I loved going to church with my grandma when I was little. I did want to mention one story. When I was 7 years old, I remember going to church with a friend of mine because she encouraged me to come. She was always getting me in trouble, so I didn't know what was going to happen. But I went to church with her, and when it came time for communion, I went up with her. I had always seen it done before, but I had never actually participated in communion. And so when I came up to the front, my friend was in front of me. I noticed she had her hands out. The priest gave her something in her hand, and then she walked away, and it was my turn. And so I put my hands out to accept the bread. The priest said a few words, and then that was it. And he looked at me, and he said, "What are you supposed to say?" And I said, "I don't know." And he politely asked me to return to my seat. And I remember making that U-turn and going back to my seat and thinking, I wasn't going to do this, but I remember how embarrassed I was and how that affected me throughout my life every time I went to a church service. And one of the things that I vowed is that with Michael here, he will never feel embarrassed. He'll always feel like he's part of a family, and that's what Grace provides. And I hope that 40 years from now, when he's up here giving the same talk about being a member of Grace, that he can say how when he was just a baby, he's always felt being so welcomed and wonderful as a member here. So thank you all very much.